Hello, and welcome to another Steel Division Divisional overview. And today we're taking a look at the Trope SS Panzer Division, the teen tankers that hit the Jugend Division. Because hey, we I'm starting to run out of regular soldiers. Let's start throwing some 17-year-olds and Panthers and hope for the best. Nothing bad will happen, right? But enough potential going into war crimes aside, let's just look in how the trope process form and function within the game of Steel Division itself. So, in terms of activation points, you've got a standard 36, and in terms of economy, you've got 70 points in A phase, which is not a lot, 115 in B phase, which is a decent amount, and 135 in C phase, which is a very good amount. And in terms of slots, lots of recon, infantry, tanks, everything else is pretty standard. Your anti-tank and air is pretty lackluster with only 3 slots available. So, let's jump right into the top and into the recon tab. And it's all pretty standard stuff. Pretty much the majority of the division is just standard stuff. For the most part, there's a few oddballs here and there. But in terms of A-phase recon, you got spar troops, and more spar troops, and all clears. Spar troops and jeeps, spar troops and 250-runs, and a bit of veterancy, and it's all clears in a 222. Pretty nice A-phase options, nothing really too great here, but it's right around it. You need some autocannon, cheapest, small squads with some firepower. 222 is good, want something a bit more well-rounded. The spar troops can serve quite lovely. And after that, it's really just 2 free runs and 2 free frees for the recon tab, and you get quite a lot of them once you get into C phase. These vehicles are both pretty good. They're not the best in terms of killing stuff, but if you need some mobile recon because you're doing a tank push, for example, these 2 free runs and 2 free frees are decent. They're decent. Now, popping over to the infantry tab, we get a lot of options, but it's all pretty standard options. Our Panzergrenadier Führers do have 2-star veterancy, which is nice, and they come in ×3. You got access to Panzergrenadier's Riv and without the half-track, and a lot of the infantry in this division have options without half-tracks, which is something that you don't see all too often for a lot of Panzer divisions. Or some do, some don't. Anyway, it's a nice option to have. We got B-phase Pioneers without tracks, B-phase Panzergrenadier Führers, more Panzergrenadiers Riv and without half-tracks, Pioneers and half-tracks, Stern Pioneers that only come in the half-track. You also got MG42, which is a pretty useless unit in this division, as you already have, if you should be using a lot of half-tracks, to be entirely honest. So, I have a machine gun squad dedicated where you already have a lot of machine guns thanks to these half-track vehicles. And then you also got the very nice but often underutilized 2.5-run -9, which is essentially just the same armament on the 233, but hey, it's a transport. That's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool little transport. You never really see it all too often. But overall, it's a pretty standard infantry loadout. The big main thing is that you don't have any CQC infantry in A phase. It's just Panzer Grenadiers. So town fights are pretty much a huge issue early on. They can be a bit of a pain in the arse if you don't know how to position your Panzer Grenadiers efficiently to fight in towns, so to speak. Make sure you're farther away in 100 meters so you won't get shredded by SMG and satchel charges. Now, of course, this is the Panzer Division, and we got tanks. Lots of tanks and a lot of options for tanks. We're really spoiled for choice with trophy sets. So first off, we got the lowly Panzer II-C command vehicle. It's alright. It's an autocannon light tank, essentially. It does have 1-star veterancy, so it has a decent command aura at least, but still, it's not the best thing in the entire world. And then we got the real elephant in the room here, because we have a British unit. We have a goddamn Firefly in a German division, a looted Firefly, so to speak. Now, this is a very interesting unit. There's a lot to talk about with the beute Firefly, because it's an A-phase Firefly. That's a very powerful tank. This thing can kill every single allied tank in game, pretty much. Yeah, it can kill all of them apart from the Jumbo, but that's really an exception to the rule. It can even penetrate those heavily armoured Churchills at max range. It can have a little bit of issue reliably doing that. The big downside of the beute Firefly is the Germans didn't manage to find any HE ammunition. I'm guessing the British just threw them all out the tank before They abandoned it. So it's a terrible unit against any soft target. You can only kill other tanks with it. It's essentially a 200-point tank destroyer. And also, that's another thing. It's a very expensive unit. Yes, it's a bit cheaper than a regular Firefly, but with a division that only gets 70 points a tick in a phase, and for something that's very only good at killing vehicles, it's a very expensive unit to buy. Very expensive. And sometimes a Firefly, beute Firefly, can be great. Other times it can be terrible. It really depends on two factors. The first one being, are you on an open map? Are you on a map where you can utilize the 1.2 kilometer range efficiently and be able to use it? Because you ideally want to be using the beute Firefly at range. You're getting it closer. You do risk yourself to get shot up by 6-pounders and other tanks. To be fair, you do have 11 armor, which is enough to bounce 6-pounders for the most part, and other Shermans at 1 kilometer. So you got that going for you, which is rather nice. And secondly, are you fighting against a or I should say tank division, or division that has lots of tanks? If you know it, you'll find an allied division, and they're going to have a bunch of Shermans and Stuarts and a bunch of nasty tanks that are going to be coming at you in A phase because they're that sort of division. And a beute Firefly is good. But if you're fighting, I'm trying to think of a non-real A phase armored tank division for the allies, like 101st for example. You're really only dealing with M22 Locusts in that case, and for A phase at least. So you don't really need a 16 AP tank to only kill Locusts. You got other options that are cheaper and a bit more useful. But that's really the beute Firefly. It's really tricky to use. It seems like it could be the best unit in the world, and sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. It's just all about the situation. Also, I just want to say one last thing before we move on, because I don't want to make this whole video just about the beute Firefly. We still have the beute Cromwell to talk about. Back in the closed alpha of the game, when Steel Division, the first initial VIP closed alpha, the beute Firefly had high explosive ammunition. It was bullshit with high explosive ammunition. It was very goddamn good in that closed alpha because of it, and that's the reason why it doesn't have HE ammo right now in game. By that's A phase done, we got a lot of tanks before us in B phase. I was trying to make an alliteration pun there, but it didn't go out great. So we got a terrible joke, the Panzer IV-J, which seems like it's decent because you get more of them compared to the H, but as you can see, the J's turret rotation is terrible. Compared to the H, much faster if you can turn your turret again. Yes, you are paying essentially 15 points for one extra side armor and faster turret rotation. You also get the veterancy, to be fair. But that 15 points is a pretty huge deal, because that turret rotation kills Panzer IV-Js in close quarters fights, and you're really going to be using Panzer IVs in close quarters fights. 1 kilometer fights, I mean. Close quarters is maybe a bit to medium range fights. As, once B phase hits, I like a little Wolf range of 1.2 kilometer 18, it's kind of risky to use a Panzer IV in an open field engagement. So really just stick with the H's overall. And you also got commander runs, which are nice if you feel like you want extra veterancy, or it is much less card efficient. And of course we got the big boy in the room, everyone's favourite Tiger tanker, Tiger E. Rittman. If you don't have the deluxe edition of the game, you just have a regular 2-star Tiger, so you won't have the funny, awesome, cool looking skin and all that stuff. But nonetheless, this is a very good B phase tank, because in B phase, I'm trying to think of it, the high veterancy helps out a lot, and also because in B phase, the allies do have, you can get maybe a few Fireflies and 1.2 kilometer tanks. They don't have the death ball amount usually at that point. You'll still really want to focus a bit more on infantry fire support, I find, in B phase that you're having to deal with. So Tiger is better at infantry fire support as it has a higher caliber gun in the Panther D. The side armor helps out. It's overall a very nice unit. It can still get killed and die like an absolute bitch if you're not careful with it. The Tiger isn't an invincible killer machine, as some people may think it is. But if used efficiently, aka not charging the front line by itself and checking hedges for AT guns, because AT guns are the bane of your existence with this Tiger tank, you should be fine. You should be fine with the 2-star Tiger. And they can prove to you to be a useful tank Because the Panther Ds aren't really that good. It may seem like a better choice to take a card of Panther Ds because you get 2 of them. You could get 2 Panthers in B phase in one card. That's very card efficient. But the Panther Ds are not good because they don't have the veterancy, and you really do need the veterancy on the Panther Ds to make him good. As a Panther D compared to a Panther G, for example, the big difference is you lose that 1 accuracy point, which that's a pretty big deal. Yeah, 1 accuracy really makes or break being able to reliably hit tanks first shot at 1.2 kilometer range. Also, you have 1 less frontal armor compared to a G. It's only, you know, a difference by 1 between the G and the D, but the D, you can just dismiss it, really. It's not really that worthwhile. And honestly, you shouldn't be able to play 2 Panthers in B phase. That's 4 minutes of B phase dedicated just to buying 2 heavy tanks, essentially. Tiger Rittman's good enough. All you really need is that 1 heavy tank, and there's also another heavy tank you can kind of get in the anti-tank tab to help you with your, you know, heavy tank crusade in B phase. But Rittman, or 2-star Tiger, more than enough. More than enough. C phase, you got more Panda 4s and another hero unit. Everyone should have this guy. It's Kretschmer. It's a pretty cool little skin. I mean, see, he's been a little bit of a rough shape already. Took a few shots to the skirt, yeah, so we can peek behind the under. I'm just trying to make like a skirt joke here, but I don't want to get too pervy. Nonetheless, you got more Tigers in C phase. It's not really rough roll in C phase, as you want to get the Panthers. Is by this time you're gonna be roaring, especially against like Guard Armored and other allied armored decks. They're gonna start getting the Death Ball out, Sherman 76s and Fireflies and all of that. So you want something a bit more reliable. And the Panthers are better in the anti-tank as they have a more high explosive but armor penetration gun, and the G, Panther G as well, also has better accuracy compared in the Tiger E. So your Panther options are the BEF and the Panther G. Both are good. I usually take like 1 card of BEF Panther because the veterancy is nice, and also being a leader unit is also very nice. And then one of these 1-star Panther Gs. That's usually enough. 3 Panthers in C phase. That's pretty affordable. I usually don't find myself needing to buy any more. And if I do lose, you know, 3 Panthers, so to speak, I'm already up shit's creek at that point. I don't think I'm gonna be able to win if I just threw away. He's very good tanks. He's a really, Mate Trophy says, a real force to be reckoned with in C phase. As the veterancy and the stats alone on these Panthers is lovely. It's absolutely lovely. I've popped on over to the support tab. We got 2-2-3s in A phase, not bad. 2-star veterancy, so it's huge command aura, better than the Panther 2 from earlier. Auto counter half tracks, aura is great. The 250-8, yeah, alright. But what's really cool, we also have to talk about, is the Beute Cromwell. As the Beute Cromwell is the opposite of the Beute Firefly, and like yin and yang, they mesh perfectly together. As the Beute Cromwell, of course, it's a Xirucaire gun, has no AP value, but it has high explosive damage, and at 1.2 kilometer range, that's perfect, because that means you can outrange those 6-pounder guns and blow them up from a safe distance. Great fire support tank for, I mean, 100 points is pretty reasonable for what you're getting, but considering it's an allied unit in a German division, that's always kind of fun to use. And the real thing that you may understand of the meshing between the Beute Cromwell and Beute Firefly is, if you were to get both units out, and you have them right next to each other, you essentially have an A-phase Tiger, as the Beute Firefly kills the tanks, and the Beute Cromwell kills the soft targets. It meshes really well together. It's very expensive, because you're spending 300 points to do this Yu-Gi-Oh! Fusion card, essentially. But I have seen instances, especially in more open engagement areas, where the Beute Cromwell and Beute Firefly mixed together with some recon support can just push on right through and get a lot of kills. Unless you get bombed or stopped by artillery, which is always the case. Unlike the Beute Firefly, the Beute Cromwell is always a good choice to take in all your Trophy S decks. I highly recommend it. Even if you don't have the range advantage of a small close range map, the fire support alone is good, and it's also only a 100-point unit, so you can be a bit more risky with it compared to a Beute Firefly. So you can run around. If it does get killed, it gets killed. You're not completely screwed if it dies. You still have a bit of maneuverability, point rise to bring yourself back up. Beute Cromwell's great. Beute tanks are great in general. 232, pretty standard command stuff. You also got A phase, B phase, and C phase supply trucks, as well as B phase and C phase Flampanzers if you want to get hot with it. Anti-tank, not many slots, but you have a few options. You have options between regular and veteran Pak 38, as well as the lovely Panzerschreck with the light AT half-track combo, which is honestly a pretty good combo. You pretty much get 2 AT weapons in one card. The other one's pretty short range and high powered, and the other one's long range and definitely not high powered. Got more of the Panzerschrecks, got more some Pak 40s, and also Yak Panzers and B phase. This 2-star Yak Panzer card is what I was talking about earlier. It's a very good card to have within your Trophy Assess deck, as it's essentially another heavy tank in B phase, which is nice. This combined with the Tiger in B phase is usually enough heavy armor to get you through said phase and allow you to push. And the 2-star Yak Panther, yes, the gun isn't the best in the road compared to the Tiger or Panther, but with 2 stars, it can be a rather deadly force to be reckoned with. And with 14 armor, higher in the Tiger, it is much more survivable from getting shot at by American anti-tank guns, as the American anti-tank gun will have a hard time penetrating the Yak Panzer frontally. And also C-phase, you got some more Pak 40s. Anti-air. So we got these 2 flak pieces. They're crap, don't take them, because you can just get the goddamn Rebel Rind, and the Rebel Rind is fantastic. It's awesome. It's lovely. It's essentially a World War II Xirucaire, because I have 1 20 mil and you can have 4. You can shoot 4 times as much in the Flak 38 roughly with just one of these. It's a really good unit to have. It's also armoured, so it can survive being bombed and counter-batteried compared to other soft and static anti-aircraft pieces. So this is also armoured too, but it's not as well armoured. But the Rebel Rind's nice because it's a good anti-air unit, but it's also a good close support unit. I mean, it's not like War Thunder where it has armor penetration ammo and you can frontally penetrate Shermans with it, but still, it's a great fire support unit to have to help your Panzer Grenadiers and, more close range engagements. The extra machine gun on the tank, even just 1 machine gun compared to 420 mils, helps out quite a bit in suppressing enemy infantry squads. The Rebel Rind's great. It's lovely. You get them in A phase and you get them in B phase, and it's mobile, so you can keep it in with your push, and it scales really well into the late game. An A phase Rebel Rind is, I'd say, always a must-have in every Trophy Assess deck. And also, it's good at shooting down planes, because you can keep it up to the front and keep it up with your forces, and with these short-range anti-aircraft pieces, you want them to be close, because they have terrible range. But once you do get the shots off, the plane on the other end is usually buggered. You got single 20 mils, more once again, some 37 mils, more Rebel range. Mobile wagons, always great, pretty pricey, but it's an armoured 37 mobile unit, 37mm mobile unit. So it's a pretty nice package. Also you got access to Flak 88s. Not really worthwhile as you only get 1 per card, and they don't have any veterancy. And you're already pretty tight in terms of spending points and anti-air and other stuff, so you can really pass the Flak 88 off. Artillery is surprisingly really good for Trophy Assess. You've got all the options. You got A phase, the smaller, crappier mortar half-track. You got the better mortar half-tracks in B phase that add sealed ammunition and have a goddamn machine gun. Panzerwerfers. You can never go wrong with too many Panzerwerfers. You can solve all your problems with Panzerwerfers. Resp, if you want something a bit more classic. The Rahmen, which is, yes, it's a thing from Company of Heroes 2. And just like in Company of Heroes 2, this thing will shut down American rifle pushes. It really shut down any push, including tanks. Rahmen is a force to be reckoned with. Like 25 HE, as well as once the rocket is fired and it lands and blows up stuff, it leaves a lingering fire effect. So also it's essentially like a napalm weapon, where you can kill units after the explosion and burn them to death if you manage to get a good shot. Hummel as well, which is also a good artillery piece, especially for counter-battering. And then the C-phase Panzer IVs are pretty passable, no veterancy. you only get one per card. And, honestly, usually the Panzer for off map's cool because it's still a fully functional battle tank. But in this division, it comes too late. It's not worth it. Air tab is not really too crazy to talk about here. You really shouldn't be focusing on air power as the Troph SS. You got Storch, you got Messerschmitt fighters as well as 2-star variants. The G3s are good because they have not slow, but a fast reload time. A fast and cheap reload time of only 2 minutes when they drop the bombs, which is good. Rocket planes, also same thing, 2-minute reload. G1, not so much, but it drops a big bomb, definitely. More Messerschmitt fighters as well as some Ju-88, which drops some pretty heavy payload. You got some good bombers in this division, but he doesn't really have the slots to really take advantage of it. And really, if you have not many slots, the first thing you need to get, of course, is fighter planes. It's better to have air supremacy. You need to control air supremacy of fighters than you can with a Ju-88. And yeah, here's an overview of the Troph SS, and I want to show you a deck that I made earlier. Once again, the deck code is in the description below. I do want to make one thing clear. In the deck code and the one in the description for both decks that I'm going to show you, they do not include the 2-star Tiger added inside. They won't include it. Just because, I'm trying to think of words here real fast. Because Tiger E. Rittman, for my version of the game, is a special hero unit, if you don't have the deluxe edition or whatnot, and you import my deck with Tiger Rittman in it, your game will just crash. So I don't want to include it in it for sake. So when you do open up both of the decks, once you import them in, make sure to add in the 2-star Tiger. Oh, well, if you don't want to use the 2-star Tiger and want to use something else, you're more than welcome to do that too. I'd recommend getting the 2-star Tiger. Okay, nonetheless, let's take a quick overview. A-phase, I like taking 2 Spar Troops with the half-tracks, so they've got a little bit of extra veteran sheet and half-tracks. I like half-tracks, they give good fire support. 1-2-2-2 card, if I need some extra heavier auto-cannon fire support, as well as the 2-3 run in B-phase. It's not really great in B-phase, but, it's also, I need some sort of mobile recon to help when doing a push, so it's better to have something at least. Infantry, of course, the A-phase leader unit, and then 2 A-phase Panzer Grenadier cards. B-phase 2 Pioneers, 1 Stern Pioneer, and 1 Panzer Grenadier. Everything comes in half-tracks. I like taking half-tracks personally, as even though it makes the unit much more expensive, you're getting more firepower per activation point. As when you get like a half-track unit, you're essentially getting 2 units with 1 card, which is good. And half-tracks, I love half-tracks. You can throw them around everywhere. You can use them to lead a assault in a charge, so they get shot by AT guns first, alerting your Tiger or Panther where the enemy AT is. You great against allied infantry, great against any infantry, to be entirely honest. So of course you're mainly going to be fighting allied. I'd like half-tracks. They're pricey, of course, especially the German runs, but I find them to be very worthwhile in the end of the day. And also we got, the CQC infantry. I find this to be enough CQC infantry to help take the towns. You may think it's a little bit Panzer Grenadier lackluster, but I really feel like when I usually play this division, I don't usually run out of Panzer Grenadiers. I also have Spar Troops too, and also the half-tracks are good in open fields to help push open fields. That's really where Panzer Grenadiers are good in open engagements. You want to be using the Pioneers, Sturm, and Regular to help fight over the towns. And the Pioneers are also pretty good open field engagement infantry, as they still retain the MG34 and have a good squad size. Tank tab, adding in Tiger Rittman there. A-phase Panzer II, A-phase beute Firefly. Well, once again, if you know you're going to be fighting against a division where a beute Firefly isn't going to be useful, just take it out, get some more Panzer IVs or whatever you feel like you need to fight them. Preferably some more fire support if you're fighting against a division where you don't think you need it, but of course when you're playing 1v1s for the most part, you don't really have, you usually have the luxury if you're doing a custom lobby, but it's kind of a pain in the ass to go in the thing, remove the Firefly, or have multiple decks, so I use it to keep the Firefly, and it usually has a use depending on the map as well. Unless it's a Firefly. I'm going to shut up about Firefly now. Anyway, B-Phase Panther 4 card, 1-star veterancy, and Mr. Rickman as well. And C-Phase, the Panther 4 card once again, as these 2-star Panther 4s are really goddamn good. Especially in those more medium range engagements. And then 1 BF Panther card and 1 Panther G card. So, it's only 4 heavy tanks for 5 including the Yank Panther in total, which is enough. It's not, like, spammable enough, but in a regular match, it's enough to really get you by. Like, you don't really need any more. And if you're losing all these heavy tanks, you really should reevaluate how you're using them. Because that's not good if you're starting to run out of Panthers and you're only, like, 30 minutes in the match. I'd say only 30 minutes in the match, but the match almost ended at 30 minutes. But still, it's not good to run out of all your Panthers only 10 minutes through C-Phase. Nonetheless, support tab, autocannon half track, as you can need the extra fire. You really need all the fire support you can on A-Phase to help you survive. A-Phase supply truck for the mortar piece that we're going to have later on. And also because the beute Firefly and beute Cromwell are both pretty important units. And if one of them get ammo racked or, you know, wrap and jammed or whatever, it's pretty important to get them back online into the fight, as you can't really afford to wait till B-Phase to get them working again. B-Phase command car, and then B-Phase supply truck. Anti-tank, we're taking a 2-star Pack 38, much better choice than a no-star, as you get the 1 extra accuracy bonus because it has 1-star veterancy. Bump it up with a leader unit, it goes to 2-star veterancy. I usually don't like Pack 38, but 2-star Pack 38 can be a rather nasty force to be reckoned with. They can do some serious damage if you position them correctly. And they don't miss because they have 2-star veterancy. The A-Phase Panther Track card, as we need all the fire support we can get in A-Phase. And also the B-Phase Yank Panther for an extra heavy tank. Not really much in terms of AT, I mean, not taking any of the Pack 40s, but the Pack 40s don't have veterancy, so they're not really worthwhile to take, to be entirely honest. Anti-air, it's a little bit light in terms of unit numbers, as you only have 5 anti-air pieces, 3 Rubberins and 2 Mobile Wagons. But these are survivable anti-air pieces. You shouldn't lose them. You might lose your A-Phase Rubberin if you use it in the attacking role. But in terms of being bombed or counter-artilleried, which is a big issue, a bigger issue for like your more static artillery pieces, you shouldn't be losing these mobile death machines. And all these vehicles pack quite a bit of a punch when it comes to anti-air, so it's enough to get you by. Not enough to be afford to really lose them, but if you're conservative, you shouldn't really need any more. Artillery. This is the big thing about the division, and I want to talk about it a little bit later, is this division has great artillery and you need to take advantage of it, especially mainly just rocket artillery. I mean, you want the A-Phase mortar piece, as you want some sort of artillery to help you in A-Phase, you know, especially in towns, as your town fight potential is just through the gutter in A-Phase of Trophy says, so you do need that to help out. But the Panzer Earthers and Worth Rammons, so useful, so bloody useful, and because you can just stun up any force. For example, if you're being attacked by like a group of Shermans, 76s, you know, regular scary force or whatnot, Panzer Earth it, Worth Rammon it, you stun them up, and then you can counter attack with your Tiger or Panthers and kill them as they run in array. Or let's say another scenario where you want to move up, but you know there's like a Firefly behind a hedgerow, and you can't just move up because the Firefly's just going to pop around and take a shot at you at an opportunistic time. So you just Panther Earth or Rathram and the Firefly. He's forced to retreat. He's gone for the count. He's running back to the lines. You can move up without the fear of getting shot by a Firefly. Also great in town fights, because you need the extra help in town fights, especially once the opponent captures the town, as you're going to have a hard time in A-Phase holding towns, I find. So the Panther Earth, you know, cleans the slate, removes all the nasty allied infantry. It's not 99.9% like bleach commercials would tell you, antibacterial nonsense. But these rocket artillery pieces are great. And airplanes, we're just taking 2 of the 2-star fighters. I usually find to be more than enough. Once again, if the NTA, you can't really afford to lose them, but if you keep them alive and do get good engagements, they're going to be much better than the no-star Messerschmitt 109s, the 2-star, once again improves the accuracy, the fire rate. They get stressed out less, which is very important in a dogfight. So they're good. Yeah, good. And you can't afford to take any bombers. So overall, the pros of the deck. This is a very well-rounded division all over. You're not terrible in too many aspects. Like, of course, the anti-tank and airplanes tabs aren't amazing, but same with a lot of tank divisions, to be entirely honest. In terms of your tank and infantry and artillery and anti-air, you all got, and support, you got really nice options. It's very well-rounded. You can do a lot of Trophy S if you so incline. You can, many ways you can get Trophy S to work. Rocket artillery party, for the reasons I mentioned earlier. You can solve anything with big German rockets. The beute tanks, the beute firefly and beute Cromwell can be very powerful, used in the right situation. And it's also great being able to use enemy equipment. It's just like the Counter-Strike phenomenon of, you know, you're playing Ts, you get the M4, and it's much better than your AK. Even though it's not really, they're pretty much the same, but because you're using a CT weapon as Ts, it's just the best thing in the world. And you gotta kill some CTs with the CT gun. And also, Trophy S is it's a good deck for people starting the game. It's a good Axis starter deck. And it's not a DLC thing, so you don't have to buy any of the DLC. But like I said, it's very well-rounded. You got good infantry, good tanks. You have enough tanks, unlike Second Panzer, for example, where you can't really afford to lose any tanks. But if you do lose a heavy tank or two as Trophy S, you can pull it back. You can, you know, not lose immediately because you lost your super important B-phase Recon Panther. It's a nice, well-rounded deck, and if you're starting the game, I would recommend giving Trophy S a shot as one of your first Axis division to try to understand. Now the cons. There's really one big con of the division, and it's really the only one I could really muster, and that is your A phase is pretty crap. And that can be a pretty big deal, as the A phase is one of the most important phases in the game, as it really sets the motions of how the rest of the match usually goes, who's going to hold what territory, and, you know, how you put a lot of matches, you know, really decided in the first 10-20 minutes, to be entirely honest. And the Trophy S, not having good CQC infantry in the towns, it's CQC infantry and all, really hurts you in town fights, and towns are very important areas to hold on to. And yes, the beute tanks are great, but I've seen many times where if I'm fighting against Trophy S and I kill the beute firefly, they just crit. They just leave the match. Of course, there's more newer players who do that, because they see they lost, you know, the one big A-phase unit they have that can really help turn the tide. As you don't have really anything else much in terms of effective A-phase AT. I mean, you got the Pack 38, which is nice, but you usually don't get too many. You got the Panzerschrecks, which are good, but the AT half-track isn't the best at killing, like, Stuarts and Shermans, and the Panzerschrecks have short range. You can have a real tough time in A-phase, especially if you're fighting against an A-phase aggressive armor division, such as 4th Armored or Desert Rats, as your AT capability isn't really, if you don't know how to use a Firefly efficiently, and a Firefly becomes pretty much high priority target number one when you're using it. It's going to get artillery, that's going to get bombed, it's going to get smoked. You're just going to be denied using the Firefly if your opponent knows how to counter you. And after that, you got some autocannon units which can kind of help. And also you have terrible income in A-phase, so you're not going to have a good time. Really, all the core units, the heavy tanks, the artillery, the airplanes, all really come in B-phase. And you need to survive till B-phase to really, do that. If you can get through A-phase, not, even if you're losing by a +1 on A-phase, but you still have, map presence, you still have units, you haven't lost everything, and you can build up a force to do your B-phase push. In B-phase, that's when you push the Trophy S and you try to get the ground. You can do pretty good. But A-phase can be really, really difficult if you don't know how to play Trophy S. And that's pretty much the major difficulty with newer players starting the division. As, like I said, majority of the matches really do end up with how the first 10 minutes go by. And Troph SS has a pretty rough first 12 minutes, 10 minutes. I said 12 minutes because it's Troph SS. Nonetheless, those are the pros and cons of the Troph SS division. Quite a bit of rambling, yeah, I'm not going to lie. So, well, let's get to some more rambling and see how the Troph SS perform in a match. And we are back. We're playing a 1v1 on KPK. And so, on the northern side, we have Crusader of a post-apocalypse as the 2nd Infantry. And demonstration, the first SS, will be Xirucaire. He also is known by Hallbraggs. He sent in the replay personally. Thank you very much. This is exactly the sort of replay I was looking for. And it's a pretty good one demonstrating how to play Troph SS. So we take a look at his deck. It's pretty much more A-phase focused, with more Arborins, more Mortar half tracks, more Pack 38. I'd say this is a better deck for a 1v1 match, as, like I said, the A-phase can be really rough, and you want to try to start off as good of a foot as you can in those first 10 minutes. And this deck, it sacrifices some B-phase and C-phase capability, I'd argue, but it does make up for it in that initial A phase. So it does take the Tigers and C phase and only one of the BEF Panthers. And also not taking the anti-tank Yank Panther because of course you're taking all the A phase AT. So it's not as powerful later game, but still, I'd argue at the early A phase is good. But the artillery is pretty similar, the airplane's pretty similar, recon's pretty similar, and the infantry a little bit different, taking more Panzer Grenadiers and only Pioneers, and he also is doing a mix of trucks and half tracks, which, you know, that's really just how some people like using Troph SS for trucks, some people like half tracks, some people like the mix. It really just comes down to you and what you feel like your needs are. So anyway, looking at the map. This is a pretty good map for Troph SS, as this open area here, this is perfect Firefly and beute territory, as there's nowhere for sneaky AT guns to hide, and usually pushing the airfield in KPK, if you can push it efficiently, gives you a lot of easy ground. The town, on the other hand, is the opposite. That's not going to be too fun, as it's pretty CQC. The Americans have those bloody ranger troops with the flamethrowers, and also they have the machine gun ranger squads, which are pretty good against Panzer Grenadiers in a toe-to-toe fight. So it's going to be a bit tougher here. He does have mortars to help deal with the town fight, of course. And there's also some good areas. Really, with Panzer Grenadiers in general. I was going to say Troph SS, but it really applies to any Panzer Grenadiers. If you're forced to use Panzer Grenadiers on a town, you should be looking for pretty much kill zones where you have a nice 100-meter distance between you and any buildings, and you have good coverage over an open field or an open area. Like, here's a good area for Panzer Grenadier in a town, or over here, for example, where you got a lot of good open space, and here and here. You really want to be looking for those open areas and just hold onto it, and just make a kill zone, a nice buffer, no man's land between you and the enemy, and enforce that with judicious MG42 fire. And if we look at the starting deployment for I'm going to call it Xiru, even though the other name is Hallbraggs, but I'm just going to go by your in-game name, just keep it nice and consistent. It's mainly a lot of infantry. We've got quite a few autocannon vehicles as well. It's not going to be opened up with any of the beute units. It's usually never a good idea to start the match with a beute Firefly unless you're 100% certain that you're going to get rust in A-phase by a bunch of tanks. As a 200-point unit, it's going to use up 40% of your income just to get that one tank at the start of the match. So that's pretty expensive. But it's infantry, recon, light vehicles bound, Pack 38 on the right hand side. And second infantry has some really good armor early on. You can get up to 3 of those DD Shermans in A-phase. And Sherman's a pretty tough customer to come against. Really the only effective AT Xiru has at long range is the beute Firefly. The Pack 38's going to have a bit of trouble penetrating Shermans. We're seeing the first engagement over here, so I'm trying not to hiccup. 223 just getting some nice shots off. And looks at the 76mm, knocking out the half track. Fortunately, Panzer Grenadiers do manage to jump out. But it's in a pretty good engagement area for the Panzer Grenadiers, apart from the fact they're in the open. Mainly, it's actually pretty bad because they're in the open, but against rifles at long range, they can win. And autocannon half tracks in a lovely spot to give fire support without exposing itself to the 76mm anti-tank gun. And on the left hand side here, so I mean, the Panzer Grenadiers, they're in good open areas, they've got a nice buffer, and they're enforcing it with their machine guns. And with the half tracks to support too, with the extra fire support, should be able, he's not going to be able to exploit the town and push through. No, it's not going to be able to push with the 60mm, but he's going to be able to hold on to it, which is more than you can do with Trophy S. Because really, with Trophy S in A phase, you really can't. You can push sometimes if you're doing really well, but that shouldn't be the aim of the game. Your aim of the game in the first 10 minutes is to survive. Like that mission, the last mission, Halo Reach, but you're not gonna die at the end. Hopefully, you're gonna survive. You're going to survive, and well, you're gonna survive with units and with enough force and enough momentum to kick off that B phase push. The first 10 minutes of Trophy S is so vital. I really want to ingrain that in you. It's so important. I'm not saying B and C phase. You can't. It's not an automatic I win button if you get the B and C phase, but you're gonna have a very nice time transitioning into B and C if your A phase went somewhat well. And it is going well. It's 50-50. No one's really gaining any points, but it's better than losing points. And he's putting on a little bit of pressure, mainly on the right hand side here, as he's trying to get into the hangars, but he is getting shot out quite a bit. And here you see the beute Cromwell, and the beute Cromwell here is really going to be a force multiplier, because the only 1.2 kilometer AT has, AT that Crusader has, I keep skipping words, is that 76mm AT gun. And the beute Cromwell really does have the advantage over the AT gun, as all he has to do is get one shot off, and he's pretty much stressed out, and he won't be able to hit a broadside of a barn, especially with no veterancy on it. And he's going to be bringing the beute Cromwell up, and Xiru is just holding on to the town. And funnily enough, fortunately for him, Crusader isn't going to be pushing. I'm seeing a really good opportunity for Crusader just to pop smoke here with the mortar and just run down the road with his flamethrower troops, because you might as well be assaulting with their ranger assaults. That is what they say in the name. You might as well try to stick with that. But I want to show you this thing here, because this is really cool. So as you can see, the beute Cromwell is engaged in a 76mm AT gun, but he's not directly hitting it. He's doing an attack ground order just in front of the AT gun here, and because it's an explosive weapon, 35mm AOE effect, all he has to do is hit in front of it, and at this range, the 76mm AT gun can't shoot back. He's a sitting duck, so the beute Cromwell can just lob shots. It takes a little bit of micro, of course, but it works with any 1.2 kilometer high explosive weaponry. Very effective against Flak 88 as well, if you're using these regular Cromwells that aren't beuted against said units. But in this case, especially on this map, it's going to be extremely vital to do this. Whereas if he knocks out 76mm AT gun, he really just opens up the airfield, and that's going to be a nice chunk of territory. And potentially even get a nice +1. And a bit of fire support on the right hand side, using the autocannons to try to suppress the rifles. And he's just forcing that beute Cromwell, the beute Cromwell is forcing that 76mm AT gun to bug off. And now he's got it pinned down, forcing it to fall back. And now with that out of the way, he can start shooting the rifles with a beute Cromwell and get control of the hangars. And exactly what he should be doing on this map as Trophy S, trying to gain control over the airfield. I think it's also pretty fitting too, because the Trophy S historically fought over KPK against 3rd Canadians, if I recall. Don't quote me on that, I may not be 100% correct. I'm sure if I'm wrong, someone will correct me in the comments. But unless with 5 long-range fire support here, or medium range with really water cannons, he is going to be able to force the rifles back and get into the hangars at least. And the body Cromwell is just shooting away, brushing off the 76mm AT gun. But yeah, left side, he's not really pushing much, he's mainly holding, he's got the Pak 38, and it's going to get into a pretty good position to hold down this road if the Sherman does decide to move up anymore. And it's very important with these Pak 38s, always have a leader unit with them, as the extra veterancy makes such a huge goddamn deal. Yeah, he's going to get spotted as he's a little bit close and take some mortar fire. He's trying to get a shot at the Sherman, but a little bit presumptuous, yeah, trying to attack a Sherman while also being under mortar fire, and he is going to lose it. On the right side, we've got another push here from Xiru. The body Cromwell's is a little bit short here on the shot, seeing him move up a bit more and refocus the attack ground order, but now got a nice plus run for Xiru. And he's using these half-tracks, autocannon and regular. It's a nice fact to help deal with the rifles. That's a nice thing against fighting second infantry, is that they don't have many bazookas. The only bazookas they have are dedicated for range and marauders squad. So you can be a bit more, you know, especially around rifle squads and other infantry, move your half-tracks around and use them. Unless there's a Sherman DD. Sherman DD will shut that down pretty quick. Now body Cromwell, he's not necessarily killing 76mm AT gun, but he's making it useless. And then we got 37mm being brought up, but body Cromwell is going to see that and just slap it down. Yeah, he's going to rush up the half track and he's going to get zooked. But this is going to reveal the range of marauders, so he knows he's there. And the body Cromwell is going to respond in kind. And surprisingly, the half track gets out alive. That is a lucky bugger. And these AT guns are definitely a bit of an act of desperation from Crusader, as this body Cromwell has really put a huge dent in his line. And there's the one Panda Grenadier. I mean, it's not the best position for Panda Grenadier to be in, but in KPK, it's a pretty good idea to just have infantry on the airfield exactly, even though they're completely exposed, because it gives you territory. And this plus one is doing really good for Xiru. It's really not going to be till C phase, till Crusader can get some more AT options to try to deal with that boy to Cromwell. Or B phase, yeah. I did say B phase. We got the mortar half track on the left hand side. We also got one on the right, I believe, being brought up. Or maybe I was mistaken. I think it's only one left. And mortar half track is definitely going to help equalise the town here. The Panda Grenadiers are holding pretty well. Panda Grenadiers good at holding. Open ground engagement, so these range armor shots may want to think about coming around and flanking. It's a bit of a mistake here from Crusader's part. Really should be using those range armor shots much more aggressively, because he probably could have took the town if he didn't just sit around with them. Especially early on before the mortar arrived, and also having the Sherman DD. But I understand at the same time Crusader's probably pretty much focused on this right side, because everything's kind of going to hell, as he's losing lots of territory. And that's not good. That's not good at losing territory. That's usually the opposite of what you want to happen. Panda strength being brought in. It's probably not going to survive through the forest. He's going to meet a fiery finale. Yeah, not a good idea. Not a good idea. Sherman DD finally getting some balls, and he's going to be moving around. And with American fire support, the Panda Grenadiers are going to be buggered. But we are in B phase now, and I'm guessing Xiru is bringing out his pioneers, because you do need all the CQC infantry you can get to help in the towns. We see more DDs being brought out. And DD can potentially kill the boy to Cromwell if it manages to get close enough. The boy to Cromwell can suppress the DD, probably not enough to fully stress it out, but enough to make it inaccurate before it can get a shot off. The range of marauders going down. This is slowly routing out the American rifles on the right hand side. Just slowly plucking them from each of the hangars. And the Pioneers are going to help stabilize the lines. And Pioneers are so good. Such a great round infantry in it. Got the machine gun, they got 2 SMGs, they got satchel charges. Really everything you need apart from a Panzerfaust. Yeah, I'd make him pretty crazy if he had a Panzerfaust. Rifles low on ammunition, or bar ammunition. The M4DD is going to help. Try to secure things, and avoid a Cromwell, even though, you know, he knows he could probably stress out the DD. You don't want to get too cocky, you don't want to give the DD enough room to punch close enough and get a shot off you. And here we go, we're seeing Tiger Rittman. It's usually pretty common to see the 2-star Tiger be brought out toward the start of B phase, as just like in real life, the Tiger's a pretty good breakthrough unit if you know how to use it. Especially at the start of B phase where the Allies don't have a huge amount of tanks. You know, may have just got like a Sherman here, or like maybe one 76mm Sherman or Firefly, so it's usually a good time to bring out Rittman. And on the airfield, in the complete open, he's on pretty good area to try and get some things done. There's not too many areas for a hidden AT gun, or in real life a Firefly, to shoot him and then blow him up. And good use of, really good use of smoke here. Yeah, good. Yeah, 0 drop into smoke, allowing his Pioneers to get in close without being shot at by the DDs. Yeah, he's going to dissipate, and doesn't. Too bad it's not like a Panzer Grenadier squad, yeah, or anything to do with that DDs. That's going to be a bit of a pain in the ass. We've got another DD, and this is really good DD territory. Really good DD territory. But yeah, it's just a slow plus run really from Xiru. I mean, it's starting to take some losses on the right side for now. But Rittman's going to be brought up, and Rittman usually doesn't mess around. At the same time, Rittman does become high priority target #1. I mean, he does have to go with outline, and everyone wants to kill bloody Tiger Rittman. I swear to God, Rittman has like a 20% extra like casualty rate just because of the special name bar and all of that. The boy Cromwell finally going to be killing that 76mm AT gun. And with the combined tank force here, should be enough to really start pushing this airfield pretty heavily. At the same time, Crusader is getting quite a lot of AT. Another 76mm AT gun is being brought out onto the field. And there are some decent areas to hide it in these small wood lines at least. We got a lot of infantry on the left hand side as well as supply unit. And our first airplane here, P-47 Thunderbolt, gonna be dropping in the Big B on the 222. Or on the all clear, my bad. Nonetheless, it's a dead unit. And the Tiger Rittman kind of facing his arse towards the enemy. Not good, but is shooting some riflemen. I don't know why he's positioned like that. It is pretty dumb. It's a War Thunder rookie mistake, right? Yeah. But that's the AI for you. And Xirucaire is trying to grind down the town of Pioneers using a mortar to effect. But it's really just the DDs that are stopping him. Or the one DD at the moment. Yo, if this Pack 38, if DD gets any closer, the Pack 38 can give him a good old close range shot, and at that range, he shouldn't miss. But the DD backs off just in the nick of time. But yeah, town fights aren't really your strong suit as Trophy S, especially against second infantry. It has all that rifle spam. It can be really tough nuts to crack. Because even though rifles aren't the best infantry unit in terms of firepower, it's a 12-man squad. It takes quite a lot to pin them down. And we're seeing our first users of Panzerwerfer, and this is pretty good hit on... It was a good idea shooting 76mm AT gun, but unfortunately didn't get any direct hits. It is going to be firing a second barrage. As a good micro tip with a Panzerwerfer is you get 10 shots in the barrage. It's usually a good idea to shoot 5 shots and then just shoot another 5 shots. Try to conserve ammo and spread out the Panzerwerfer love. As usually, especially against single targets, you shouldn't need, 10 shots to kill it. And also the Panzerwerfer takes quite a bit to reload, so you want to make your shots count. Rittman is pushing up a little bit aggressively. He did lose his recon unit, so he's not going to see his AT gun actually shooting him. Or he sees it now because it is shooting him, but he's just charging up and he's not going to be returning fire. And oh, that's not good. That's not good at all. And just like that, Rittman comes in and Rittman dies. That was a little bit ballsy with the Rittman push here. I think Xiru got a little bit cocky, but he still got the plus run. He still has momentum. He still has the beute Cromwell, which is all more important because that's still good at knocking out 76mm. There's no real tanks to worry about here. But yeah, that's the life and times of Tiger E. Rittman. He never usually makes it past B phase, to be frank. It's usually a B phase type unit. He pushes up, gets some ground, and then, 2 fireflies are brought out, and then you're like, oh, bugger. I'm dead. I guess I'll die now. But the main thing, the beute Cromwell has really been the MVP so far for Xiru. And also got a second Panzerwerfer. And that's really good. You want to try and get your Panzerwerfers out as soon as you possibly can for trophy set, I'd say. Reasonably, of course. I'm not saying, bank up an A phase and get the 2 Panzerwerfers and B phase starch. But they're really good force multipliers, like I said. Very universal unit. Use it to fight over towns. Use it to, stop pushes. Use it to route out hidden units. Panzerwerfer is such a Swiss Army knife. You can solve all problems with Panzerwerfers apart from airplanes. But he's going to be using it against a single target 76. And unfortunately, it is a little bit of RNG against single targets. Panzerwerfer is much better against groups. He does get the kill. It did take quite a lot of ammunition, so it's going to be a little while before the Panzerwerfer is back online. Town fight, it's really just grinded to a halt. Xiru's bringing in pioneers and whatnot, but his DDs are really just slowing him down. We got the 2-star Messerschmitt. He's going to be force. We got 2-star P47. I think that'd be Gabby if he had the deluxe edition. And he really needs to try and fly towards his Rauberwind. You see the Rauberwind at close range fire support. Pretty good. It's pretty good. Not just in terms of firepower, but aesthetically. It's really pleasing to see a crap ton of autocannon and machine gun fire just sail towards one target. Against an M4DD, which is gonna happen, not gonna work well. Messerschmitt is actually doing pretty good against P47, as it does have the turn radius advantage over it, as a P47 is a bit more of a sluggish fighter. But with a second airplane, he's not going to be going for the ME. And Messerschmitt gonna go for the second P47. And that should be enough to get the kill here. There we go. On the right hand side of all the Panzer Grenadiers now. I mean, they've been here for a bit. And also the AT guns being knocked out. Xiru's is... I mean, he's not making great progress. Like, fast, but he's making progress. And if he can get up to this area, it's a lovely defensive spot to hold on to. And the M4 Shermans, one of them did get bailed out, I believe, by the Pak-38. And yeah, the town's not really looking great. Really, the Panzerwerfers need to come in and just level the whole thing. Nice new clean slate, as I like to call it. Burning slate. remove all the infantry at the town and rather another go at it. But yeah, that is one of the weaknesses of Trophy Sets, is your town fights aren't the best. But at the same time, yeah, like I said before, he's fighting second infantry, which is really tough in a town fight. Oh, good Panzerfaust, yeah. Pretty lucky hit. We got a second Tiger being brought out. And also a Panzer IV-H, Kretschmer. Yeah, I'm not really too much else to say. Sirius is holding the open ground. Absolutely lovely. He's going to be resupplying his Panzerwerfers at the resupply point. And the Tiger's going to be going back to the middle of the airfield. He was pretty fortunate he is fighting second infantry, because even though they're very good in the town, in an open airfield fight against German heavy tanks with veterancy, it's going to be pretty tough. He can get Wolverines, but the second infantry Wolverines usually don't have the veterancy to really effectively fight. You really want fireflies in this sort of, 76 Shermans in this sort of engagement, and 76 doesn't really have it. If this is Guards Armored, for example, they could pretty easily get 2 fireflies and deal with this threat. The Panzer IV in the town almost getting, I think, Xirucaire from the Ranger Marauders, but Kretschmer does survive. He knows how to dodge a Zook or two. Oh, we do see two. Oh yeah, I do have 2 Cell Wolverines. I did forget, yeah, but usually only 1 per card, so it's not very card efficient. And this is only 1 Wolverine. Against the Tiger stat rise and a run, the Tiger does win. Better AP, better armor. It also has the Boy to Cromwell here to help. Not going to kill it, but it's going to stress out the Wolverine, and it's pretty much just as good as killing it in this sort of engagement. Here's this nice slow plus run point advantage. You see the Tiger's just taking shot after shot. The Wolverine's gonna trade, and first shot, Tiger kills him. And a Panzer from the town, that's pretty much just gonna clear that out. And Sherman dead. A lot of units dead, really, for second infantry. Full Crusade, there's gonna be a GG. And you see by the kills, Zero made quite a bit more kills, of course, 700 point advantage. Looking at the history, as you can see, A phase really wasn't that. I mean, it was for the first like 7 minutes. So you can see, it can be pretty tough. You lost Pack 38s, a lot of light vehicles, a few infantry units. Yeah, that's really pretty standard for Trophy Sets. So he did manage to push back eventually once the Boy to Cromwell came online and started wrecking the right hand side. And as you can see, I mean, knocked out. Goddamn, he knocked out. I didn't see it. Knocked out the Sherman with a 2-2-2. That's pretty impressive. Another one right after that with a Panzer Grenadier. So some pretty good kills, yeah. Losing Rittman, but apart from that, it's pretty back and forth for the rest of the match. And looking at kills, that's the American kills. Sherman's pretty much in down the rifle squad doing pretty good. In terms of losses, you see the Boy to Cromwell knocked out 3 anti-tank guns. Real MVP of the match. That whole right side push pretty much secured Zero the victory. 2-2-2 did pretty good. If you know to use your order cannon units effectively, it can be real forces to be reckoned with. Kretschmer also doing nice as well. And Rittman, I don't think even killed anything. Yeah, he didn't. Which is pretty typical for Rittman. I'm not gonna lie. I like to give him a lot of shit. But yeah, that's Trophy S. Overall, they're very nice. Probably the most well-rounded German tank division. They're pretty much a jack of all trades, in a sense. You know, once again, like that A phase can be really rough, and if you can't get through that A phase efficiently and without, you know, some forces left over to do that B phase push, you're gonna have a bad time. You're really gonna have a bad time. And if you are new to the game, I would recommend giving Trophy S, you know, a shot as one of your first access divisions that you try to get good with, and, you know, maybe use this video as a guide. And well, that's all I really have to say about the Trophy SS Panzer Division. And yeah, thank you for watching, and as usual, please just take it easy.